count that one against Dak Prescott. Larry Ramirez now joins us live. Who witnessed that practice today, Larry?
Yeah, you know what, we did, and I'll tell you what, it was a pretty good practice, I think, from start to finish for their very first one, and it happened under clear skies with the temperature hovering around 79 to 89 degrees today. The Cowboys held their first practice here in Oxnard since reporting to camp earlier this week. And check out who was here. You know him. You love him if you're a Cowboys fan. Cowboys great Troy Aikman. He was roaming the fields and most likely doing some homework for his TV gig. Dude still looks like he can play. Fourth-year cornerback Trayvon Diggs can play, and that's why the Cowboys rewarded him with a 5-year, $97 million contract extension with a max value of $104 million. The boys selected him in the second round, 51st overall in the 2020 draft, and he almost instantly established himself as one of the top corners. After practice, he met with the media to talk about his new deal.
Appreciative, the opportunity, just the organization, trusting in my abilities, trusting in what I do on the field, and, just doing everything I can to try to help this franchise win a Super Bowl. I'm just truly thankful. It means a lot, being able to get it done, before, camp, and I can just focus on football. So, I'm just extremely thankful.
Oxnard residents who live next to the Cowboys training camp facility are not happy with the team for building this massive but temporary hospitality tent inches from their property, and they say with no prior notice. Residents have hired attorneys and filed a complaint to the city. Here's Jerry Jones.
We've invited them to come inside the area, and again, they know as well as anybody how open and how friendly this is out here. So I'm excited. I'm particularly excited about how well this is set up out here to put the show on for people that do come in and watch the practices.
All right, check out the schedule coming up Thursday. The boys practice at 1:30, Friday at noon walkthrough, Saturday opening ceremonies followed by practice. Sunday we chat with Jerry, and Monday is the first day in pads, so that's going to be exciting. That is all from Oxnard. Let's send it back to San Antonio, where we're going to talk about the Houston Texans. David?
All right, Larry, thank you very much. The Texans took the field at the Methodist Training Center early this morning, the start of a new era. That would be 3 new eras in the last 3 years, if you're keeping count. The man who probably stole the show today, podium was second-year safety Jalen Petrie. The former Baylor Bear had 147 tackles as a rookie, 1 sack, 5 picks, 8 passes defended. He told the media he plays the Madden game with Texans second-year quarterback Derek Stingley Jr., and that the Madden game has helped him get better as a player.
Believe it or not, a lot of the route concepts, really all of the route concepts that these NFL teams are running is on the game. So when you're playing around and you picking these plays, like these are plays that these offensive coordinators are picking. Obviously, their knowledge of the game is a lot further than us, but these are the same plays. So if you continue to see that, you continue to put that in your mind, then when you get out onto the field and you start seeing it, it's going to just start to click and click. So I think it's just a good rep for you to just get on Madden and just look at stuff, because it's obviously fun too.
A lot more camp at the 10. Steve, Myra?
Thank you, David. I want to talk about something that we're taking a special interest in because it affects so many different people. Fighting fentanyl.
Yeah, we know that this has been a problem in our country for quite a while now. Stephania Jimenez joining us here. You're leading off a special we have coming up right after the break. Everybody's heard about the dangers of fentanyl, but this goes beyond that. Why is this something people need to pay attention to?
Because it affects all of us. I mean, you just said it just a few seconds ago. It's not just you. When you're watching the news and you keep hearing stories about fentanyl not just entering the country, I mean, yes, you've heard of it politically, leaders talk about it, but this is about our children, how it affects our children. And the fact is that, and this is a scary statistic, folks, about half of teenagers are experimenting with drugs. And the thing is that fentanyl is in everything. So unfortunately, you don't have the luxury of saying, oh, my kid would never do that. This is really a call to action so that parents pay attention, so that they're aware of the problem, not just around the country, but right here in our communities, so that we're able to have that conversation with our children and help them and protect them.
Yeah, it's an important, could be a life-saving conversation. Fighting fentanyl, our KSAT 12 special with Stephania coming up right after the break.
Tonight at 10. Medical professionals are using a new temp bag to treat people who could be facing heat exhaustion out in the field. Coming up tonight at the Night Beat, how these bags could be used in migrant crisis situations across San Antonio.
Artists create real looking wounds. Take a look at her right there on the Night Beat, how this gory creation could one day save your life.
KSAT's always tracking the skies, your weather authority.
Bluebonnet Chrysler Dodge Ram in New Braunfels has been the #1 volume Ram dealer in Texas for 10 years in a row. And during the Make This the Summer event, you'll discover a huge selection of new vehicles, all marked with low, no-hassle posted pricing. Get 2.9% financing for 72 months or 15% off MSRP on new Ram 1500 Lone Star Editions. Bring in your trade and get top dollar on the spot at Bluebonnet Chrysler Dodge Ram in New Braunfels. Because
at Bluebonnet, price is the difference.
The KSAT 12 Weather Authority app forecasts created by certified meteorologists.
KSAT's Weather Authority app, powered by AFFCU. Download it today.
Why are there 2 extra seats? I know, Uncle Dane and his giant beard.
The Volkswagen Atlas, with best-in-class third-row legroom. Visit your local Volkswagen dealer for 3.9% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2023 Atlas or Atlas Cross Sport.
with Empire's low price guarantee, you'll get quality carpet, hardwood, and laminate at a great price. We'll beat any competitive offer guaranteed. Schedule now.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today.
And Sierra's got it. Your one-stop commercial truck and fleet dealer. Whether you're looking for just a few trucks or a whole fleet, you'll find exactly what you want and a price that's hard to beat. Chevy, Ford, Nissan, and Ram. Hundreds of trucks in stock and ready to go. Box trucks, flatbeds, work trucks, and a full line of heavy-duty trucks. And Sierra has it. So for all your commercial truck needs, check us out online at Ansira.com.
18-wheeler accidents can cause serious injuries. If you were injured in a trucking accident, we make it as simple as 1, 2, 3. 1, contact Thomas J. Henry. 2, our attorneys will come to you day or night. 3, we will handle everything while you focus on healing. Thomas J. Henry handles serious trucking cases and gets serious results for injured clients. Call today. Thomas J. Henry is available 24/7, nights and weekends.
Intuitive sit to start and the all-electric ID4. It's the little things. It's a VW. Visit your Volkswagen dealer today and lease the all-electric 2023 ID4 Pro for just $349 a month. Limited inventory available.
If your car insurance rates have gone up, start paying less with Fred Loya Insurance.
A crisis everywhere.
We have seen some young folks die as a result of fentanyl.
Her son died a year ago today of a fentanyl overdose.
One pill kills.
I've never seen anything like this.
Researchers say synthetic opioids like fentanyl are the leading cause of death among 18 to 45-year-olds. A survivor shares her story.
I feel so grateful to be alive because I shouldn't be.
But many aren't so lucky. In South Texas, the families of those people are in unimaginable pain.
They're not supposed to die before you. You're supposed to die first.
Meanwhile, law enforcement everywhere fight to keep fentanyl from entering the country and reaching our neighborhoods.
Trying to find that needle in the haystack.
But they need help. They want you to listen to their message and save lives. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Stephania Jimenez. We hear about fentanyl all the time, how it comes into our country, what laws leaders are passing to fight the drug, but we can't forget the human cost of fentanyl. In 2021, the Centers for Disease Control found that the synthetic opioid was involved in about 22 deaths for every 100,000 people in the U.S. It's linked to the most deadly overdoses. The Drug Enforcement Administration says that it's in most illegal drugs. And often, it's the people who don't know they're taking fentanyl who die from it. Sometimes they're kids who think they're getting a prescription pill from their friends, or they're experimenting, which, by the way, kids do. The National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics says that 50% of teens have misused a drug at least once. But with fentanyl, that could be one time too many. And that one mistake leaves victims' families with the painful reality that they'll never see their loved ones again.
Happy birthday to you. Okay, blow your candles.
Thank you.
Blow them out.
Blow them out.
Kyle was a very, very kind young man. He was always looking out for me. He was like my best friend. He loved animals, and he was always helping with my pets and taking care of them for me, and loved dogs. We were living in California. He became an EMT there, and then we moved here. The day that it happened, he was going with me to the vet. I saw him about 3:40 in the afternoon, and he was in his bedroom hanging out. So the next morning when I got up, he was still in bed, and I was getting ready to go somewhere, and I realized it was almost 11 o'clock and he still wasn't up, which was not normal for him. And then I went in there and I called his name and he didn't move, so I went over and I touched him and he was cold. And I screamed to my husband that he was dead. He wasn't this horrible person that people want to make somebody out to be, because for whatever reason, he was self-medicating with drugs. It is the worst pain that any person can go through, and I don't want anybody to go through it.
There's no way we can talk about fentanyl in the U.S. without bringing you here. This is the Juarez-Lincoln Bridge, which connects Laredo, Texas to Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. It's one of the many U.S. ports of entry, which basically makes it ground zero for fentanyl trafficking.
Fentanyl is what we're seeing across the entire southern border. If you look at it like a football game, of course, the first line of defense would be, the ports of entry. That's your defensive line, if you will. Then you have the Border Patrol, which are going to be your linebackers. They have that opportunity at the checkpoints to catch, anything that either initiates in the U.S. or unfortunately gets past the ports of entry. I think the Border Patrol, it serves like the last chance of defense. Technology helps us, with some inspections, but again, the cartels or the transnational criminal organizations are keeping up to date with the stuff that we try to use to interdict those.
A lot of times, we identify what we try to identify beforehand. If we know it's fentanyl, then we'll move in there. So this will give us a real-time reading of any substance that we have in the field. Given officer safety, we can use a laser, right, to shoot through the substance as opposed to actually getting hands-on, opening the package.
These transnational criminal organizations, they're out to make money, and they're going to try everything possible to get these drugs, in particular fentanyl, into the hands of our young, kids, adults in the U.S. Just the fact that Laredo lies geographically right in the middle of the Pan American Highway, it has access to all the major highways in Mexico. You got the I-35 corridor. That once you get to San Antonio, you can go east or west via I-10. So obviously they have access to all the major cities in the U.S.
The Centers for Disease Control says from January 2021 to January of 2022, more than 107,000 people in the U.S. died of drug overdoses and drug poisonings. 67% of those deaths involve synthetic opioids like fentanyl. Up next, you're going to meet a woman who survived 3 fentanyl overdoses, and she hopes that you learned something from her story.
Thomas J. Henry. The name you know, the firm you trust.
Thank you for your email. I'm currently out of the office, focusing on a little blue sky thinking. I'll be taking meetings with family and friends and checking voicemail as my activities permit. I'll connect with you after reconnecting with me.
Our mattresses are hand-built, and in that process, we utilize a technique called tufting. And we use a tufting needle to go ahead and tie our mattresses together. Those tufts hold together and keep things from shifting and moving inside of it. You can't well sleep without a can't well mattress.
We needed to find a new house in a new community, but it was really difficult because we have to sell our old home first.
With Orchard's Move First program, we were able to actually buy this house before selling our other house.
You didn't have to do showings. Having little kids, we didn't want to have to leave the house multiple times a day.
They'll come in and do minor repairs, painting, get your house ready to sell at the top of the market.
Orchard makes everything so much easier. That's how real estate should be.
Get started at orchard.com.
Since 1905, HEB has been proud to work with Texas growers because honestly, there's no taste like home. That's why we created our Texas Roots brand, which supports farmers and brings fresh, local produce to you faster. Whether it's strawberries from Poteet, greens and onions from the Rio Grande Valley, or dozens of other grapes grown around the state, we bring the best of Texas farms to Texas tables. Texas Roots, another reason why at my HEB, here, everything's better.
Make this the summer at IngramParkCJ.net.
RBFCU has several low-rate mortgage options to fit your needs. Learn more at rbfcu.org.
I immediately passed out. There was no thoughts. Like as soon as it entered my bloodstream, it knocked me out immediately.
It's no surprise that the fentanyl crisis is also affecting Americans who suffer from substance abuse disorder. Back in 2020, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration did a survey and found that 40 million Americans are living with a drug addiction. And here's where fentanyl comes in. It's so potent and cheap to produce that drug dealers are adding it to most illegal drugs like heroin, cocaine, meth, and prescription pills. So people addicted to those drugs are also dying from fentanyl overdoses. But sometimes they're lucky. They survive.
In April, I overdosed on fentanyl 3 times, and it was because I did not know it was in the drugs that I was using.
And what drugs were you?
I was using meth and heroin. It feels really good to say that I am alive, and it feels like freedom. I think it's just important that we keep these addicts alive until they get to a place where they are ready for help. So just like it's so important that we keep them alive, because every person is special. You know, they're loved by someone. So a life lost, even if they're an addict, is a tragedy. If I could have stopped, I would have years ago. I mean, it's absolutely destroyed everything that I've ever loved. And I've come back from that. And I've been able to regain the things that I love. Anywhere you go, you know someone who knows someone who's being affected by this addiction. So yes, it is everyone's problem.
We're very happy to tell you that Anna's doing well. She's working towards getting her bachelor's degree in social work. She wants to use her education and her own experience to help people with substance abuse disorder. Up next, you're going to see how the DEA and the state of Texas are fighting fentanyl.
Thomas J. Henry. The name you know, the firm you trust.
It's hot outside, but you'll get cool low prices at Ancero Volkswagen on Bandera Road. Check out this Jetta S. Lease it for only $315 per month. And get 3.9% financing for 72 months on 2023 Atlas models. Buy from Ancero, get 4 tickets to the San Antonio Zoo's new summer event, Wild World Records, featuring Guinness World Records. Go to AnceroVolkswagen.com or come by today. Ancero Volkswagen, right outside Loop 410 on Bandera Road.
Connect on a deeper level this summer. Feel closer to awe-inspiring marine life. Stay longer for spectacular new and award-winning shows. And scream louder with incredible water thrills, like the Wild River adventure of the all-new Catapult Falls. Oceans of connections are waiting for you this summer, only at SeaWorld San Antonio. Get a multi-day ticket as low as $25 a day during our summer sale.
Aquifer is down 0.3 of a foot. We're 31.6 feet below the July average and need rain. Mold is low at 130.
If you're looking for a new AC system, you should have 3 priorities: price, warranty, and brand. And SA Specialties has you covered.
Get a 14-SEER complete equipment changeout all sizes for only $74.98. Plus our award-winning 10-10-10 warranties on parts, maintenance, and labor for both Rude and Goodman systems.
All 3 priorities covered. Great brands, low price, and most of all, a warranty you can count on. Call SA Specialties today. 210-658-0440. 210-658-0440.
July oversupply. Now at Northside Chevrolet. Our record-breaking new Chevy sales have flooded us with more trades than we can hold. And with all the new Chevrolets on the way, we need to move them out fast. Every used car, truck, and SUV is on sale now. Massive red tag savings. Rates as low as 3.9% on certified pre-owned Chevy. Northside Chevrolet is out to be the #1 volume Chevy dealer in the U.S. And remember, we'll beat any new Chevy deal in Texas or give you $1,000.
Northside Chevrolet won't be beat.
Big relief for the Texas families who've lost loved ones to fentanyl. Many of those families surrounding Governor Greg Abbott today in Austin as he signed 4 bills into law. In June, Texas families who lost loved ones to fentanyl celebrated after Governor Greg Abbott passed laws cracking down on the drug, a problem that's very personal to members of the Drug Enforcement Administration, an agency that stepped up enforcement and started campaigns to stop fentanyl.
This problem is unprecedented. I've been with DEA for 18 years, and I have never seen anything like this. I've had 3 friends that have lost children due to fentanyl, and then another friend who lost his nephew, what they believe was fentanyl. So it hits home, right? And I have young children, so I'm trying to do everything I can, not only for my family, but for our community, to prevent that heartache from reaching another family. In 2022, the Houston Field Division, which the San Antonio District Office is a part of, seized approximately, or more than 674,000 fentanyl pills and 230 pounds of fentanyl. So our DEA lab has told us that is enough fentanyl to kill roughly 7 million people. So to put it into perspective for your viewers, that is enough to kill every single man, woman, and child in San Antonio.
It seems that even junior high school kids are experimenting, and high school kids are also experimenting, college kids. What do you want parents to know?
They need to monitor their children's social media. Anyone who is on social media, has access to the internet, is a potential victim of a poisoning from fentanyl. And you should never, ever take a pill that has not been prescribed for you and dispensed by a licensed practitioner. There is no legitimate prescription pill that can be purchased through social media. The people that are selling fentanyl, we're coming for you. We are coming for you. We're going to do everything we can. If you're selling poison on our street, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you are put behind bars where you cannot hurt other people.
So my son died right after the children in Uvalde, and I was just so brokenhearted for those parents. I saw the moms and dads on the news. I saw them, and then just 2 days later, it was me, you know? And no, he wasn't a little boy, but I think what people don't understand about that when you lose your adult child is you didn't just lose your child, you lost your best friend.
Kyle Hinkle was among the more than 2,000 people in Texas who were killed last year from fentanyl poisoning. Fentanyl is the most common drug involved in fatal overdoses across all ages, races, and genders. That's one reason that everyone you heard from tonight says fighting fentanyl is everyone's problem.
The summertime sale event is going on now at Ancira Kia on Bandera Road. At Ancira Kia, this Soul LX AT is only $20,791, while this Forte LXS Auto is just $19,998. Buy from Ancira, get 4 tickets to the San Antonio Zoo's new summer event, Wild World Records, featuring Guinness World Records. Come by or check us out at AnciraKiaSA.com. Hot sale prices going on now at Ancira Kia, #1 in San Antonio, right outside Loop 410 on Bandera Road.
Renewal by Anderson's ridiculously great sale is going on now. Stay tuned to learn more.
Have you been looking at replacing your home's windows or doors? If so, I'm sure price is a huge factor. At Renewal by Anderson, we're really proud of our fair pricing policy.
We're a typical middle-class family. We have a budget. We need to be aware of where our money's going. And the great thing about Renewal by Anderson was they actually had several financing options that were going to make sense for our situation.
So, let's talk windows. Our Fibrex window material is like the gold standard in the industry. It's a composite material that lasts longer, performs better, and is actually 2 times stronger than vinyl. Okay, so you're carrying this out to your back deck, but you gotta stop and try to shove open that patio door. That can be real frustrating. The dual ball bearing adjusters on our patio doors help the doors to glide easily. At Renewal by Anderson, we've been doing this a long time, and we know that you don't want some hard sell sales pitch. We'll visit your home, see exactly what you have, and then give you an exact price quote. And we'll honor that price for a whole year so that there's no pressure. Let us give you a price on the windows and doors that you will love.
We had the intention of looking at different companies, doing some due diligence, and we started with Renewal by Anderson, and it was such a compelling conversation and process that we ended up not even looking any further.
For the first time ever, Renewal by Anderson is having a ridiculously great sale. Save $276 on every window and save $727 on every door. Don't pay anything for 1 year, plus take an extra 10% off everything. Our ridiculously great sale ends July 31st. For an appointment, call 210-761-6700.
This is the 2023 Nissan Pathfinder and Rogue. With a range of drive modes and intelligent off-road technology, you can take a Sunday stroll in the least basic of places. The 2023 Nissan family of SUVs. Anything but basic.
Now get 0% financing for 36 months on select trims, or get a low $419 per month lease on Rogue.
We're back here now with Stephania Jimenez. You shared some powerful stories, especially from that woman who survived 3 overdoses with fentanyl. A story there from the DEA talking about how it is so crucial that nobody buy a pill, any substance, from someone online, because you have no idea, especially social media. We're not talking about online pharmacies, but Instagram, Facebook, buying a substance because you have no idea what could be in it.
Unfortunately, that's where a lot of the transactions are taking place. When they talk about young children who are buying the drug, that's how they're buying it. On TikTok, Snapchat, apps like that. And that's why the DEA supervisor there said that we should monitor our children's social media use and know who they're talking to. because we need to know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and it's so important for parents to talk to their kids. So we had a poll online. Actually, I want to give you the results of that. It's been going since this morning, a KSAT.com poll. Have you talked to your child, your kids, about fentanyl? And right now you can see 66% of you say you have. 34% of you, though, say you haven't. I hope that 34% thinks about it after this whole thing and decides that it's a conversation worth having.
Yeah, hopefully they watch our piece. And also, Myra, you did a wonderful piece on KSAT Explains about fentanyl, about what it is, because we need to start there, right? Just to get a nice base understanding of what is in the drug and why it's so dangerous. But yes, it's understandable that parents have a difficult time talking to their children sometimes about this, because this is unlike anything that we've ever seen before. But this is why we're continuing an event tonight. We're going to have a live town hall at 7 o'clock tonight, because we want to help you have that conversation with your children. We're going to have a psychiatrist on with us, because it's not just having the conversation, it's also you need to educate yourself about how you proceed.
Right. You need to understand before you can help your kids understand.
Yes.
Or a loved one.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Stephania, thank you. We're continuing right after this.
And Sierra's got it. Your one-stop commercial truck and fleet dealer. Whether you're looking for just a few trucks or a whole fleet, you'll find exactly what you want at a price that's hard to beat. Chevy, Ford, Nissan, and Ram. Hundreds of trucks in stock and ready to go. Box trucks, flatbeds, work trucks, and a full line of heavy-duty trucks. And Sierra has it. So for all your commercial truck needs, check us out online at ansira.com.
Hotties on the Harbor, sponsored by Chris's Marine, Aransas Autoplex, and the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce. Register online at Eventbrite or call the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce for more information or for sponsorship opportunities.
Stepping up your savings at Express Flooring has been extended. Buy one room and save up to 65%. 2 rooms up to 70%. 3 rooms or more and save up to 75%. The more you buy, the more you save.
Just call Express for fast, free in-home shopping on your schedule. Plus, step up your savings up to 75% on a huge selection of carpet, tile, wood, and even waterproof laminate and vinyl plank flooring, including in-stock pet and stain-resistant flooring. Buy now and pay no interest for 12 months. Plus, payments as low as $49 a month. Installation can begin the very next day. And it's all backed by our exclusive free lifetime installation warranty. We'll even help you move your heavy furniture for free.
Step up your savings and call Express Flooring.
Express Flooring to your door. Call 855-MY-FLOOR.
There's no limit to your savings right now at Haverty's, because you can save $100 off every $1,000 you spend. As your wish list grows, so does the sale. So come in this weekend for unlimited savings on expertly crafted furniture built to bring you unlimited happiness. Haverty's, we furnish happiness.
Winning starts with confidence. And at Mission Mitsubishi, when you drive a new 2023 Outlander or Outlander plug-in hybrid, it's a win-win. Get award-winning safety features, 3 rows of premium comfort, and on-demand performance. Plus, our 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Trust the automaker named #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Get 3.9% APR for 72 months and win the summer at Mission Mitsubishi.
We love to prank the ones we love. I like that it doesn't hurt anyone.
Yet.
What is going on?
Oh, geez.
Oh! Who did this? This is the
wasn't me.
Okay. Oh my God. How y'all going to hell?
Welcome back. So by now you have a deeper understanding of the fentanyl crisis. We know by now this is deadly stuff. So here's the question. How can we get that message through to our kids so that they don't get poisoned? That's exactly what we're going to discuss in our live town hall tonight. 3 people here tonight joining us on the set with 3 very different perspectives. Here we have child psychiatrist Dr. Giancarlo Health San Antonio. We have Jerry Scrocky. She is the safety and security director for Hayes CISD, and Alyssa Jones, a high school senior and member of the Student Advisory Board at Hayes CISD. Now I'm going to start with Dr. Ferruzzi. If you could just share your reaction to the piece that we just had.
Yeah, it's shocking, and it's imperative that we get the message across to the 34% of the parents who said that they still haven't had.
We'll see you at 7.
Conversation.
This is really different. It's really different, and it's not going away. It's not a trend that I foresee going away in anytime soon in the next 10 years. This is probably something we're still going to be talking about. But the hope is that more people will know about it by then and less people will be dying.
Saving lives is the goal. In the last 30 minutes, you got a good look at the fentanyl problem, how it comes through our border despite the efforts of law enforcement to fight it. The fact is, fentanyl is in our communities. It killed 2,000 Texans last year. So how do we keep our children safe? That's what we discussed tonight in part 2 of Fighting Fentanyl. It's everyone's problem. Now, if you're just joining us, welcome. I'm Stephania Jimenez, and again, this is part 2 of our special Fighting Fentanyl, It's Everyone's Problem. We're going to have the special that we just aired on KSAT 12 up on our online platform shortly, and you could watch it once it's up. But for now, we want to focus on families and how we can protect our children from fentanyl. So we have 3 people tonight joining us. Child psychiatrist Dr. Giancarlo Ferruzzi, and we also have Alyssa Jones. She's a high school senior at Hayes CISD, and we have Jerry Scrocky, who is the head of safety and security for Hayes CISD. So the one thing that we want to make clear here is that fentanyl is in all illegal drugs, and it seems like a faraway problem, but it's not, because the fact is our children are experimenting with drugs. We saw in my special tonight 50% of teens have used an illegal drug at least once. So let's start right there with you. First, parents are going to want to know why are children experimenting with drugs?
Well, the adolescent period, meaning preteens and older teenagers, that's the time when they're lobbying for more freedom and opportunities to explore. But unfortunately, they're physiologically the brain, the part of the brain that is responsible for important decisions such as planning, social moderating behaviors. That part of the brain isn't fully developed. So they're more likely to engage in risk-taking behaviors, not knowing necessarily the consequences. And the other part is adolescence is a time when parental influence is overshadowed by peer influence.
Could you talk about that? You were talking about that before with me, about how for teenagers, their friends are really like their family. They listen far more to their friends than they do their parents.
Sure, their friends become their identified family, and they will be much more forgiving and accepting of messages that they get from the peers than oftentimes they are with their own family, even when they have otherwise healthy relationships with their parents.
Okay, now Alyssa, let's turn to you right now. Hopefully that wasn't too awkward for you, but did that make sense to you that teenagers listen far more to their friends than they do their parents?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, as me and some other students have been going around and talking about this problem and raising awareness for fentanyl, it's definitely hit harder than it did whenever it was just administrators and parents talking to us. Because when you see your own peers and someone your own age realizing that it's a problem, think about what you're doing.
So let me ask you, Alyssa, what are we missing when it comes to parents, administrators, teachers, and talking to teenagers and hopefully getting the message through to them so that they don't take risks, so that they don't buy any pills online, so that they don't experiment with drugs? What is it that we're missing? Because that message is not getting through.
I think really what you're missing with teenagers is just that one-on-one connection. I think in order to have them listen to you, you have to be their friend or their peer. And it's really hard to get through to them from a point of authority, like a parent or a teacher.
That is a good point. And with that, now we want to turn to Jerry Scrocky from Hasty ISD. That district, Hasty ISD, has been doing a ton of work to fight fentanyl with district-wide campaigns. We've actually covered that on KSAT, but we do know that 6 children at Hasty ISD have passed away from fentanyl poisoning since last summer. Have you been able to figure out a link, Jerry, or why this is happening?
Well, I mean, our proximity to the interstate certainly lends it. We're definitely in between large cities, but the reality is we're just seeing an influx. We're seeing it in our community. It started very strongly in our community, and when it started hitting all of those locations surrounding our school district, it's almost natural that you're going to start seeing it infiltrate into the high schools and the middle schools, and quite frankly, it's become almost catastrophic in our community, and with that, the access becomes much more tangible for our youth as well.
Now, Alyssa, I want to go to you with that, because you would think that hearing about one of your classmates passing away from fentanyl poisoning just that one time would be enough to shock you, yet it's happened 6 times. Now I'm curious, what's the conversation that you and your friends are having about this?
Me and my friends and just people and kids around the school see videos that the school puts out, or we'll see news stories, and you talk about it and it does hit you hard. But I feel like a lot of these people that are overdosing that we're seeing are addicted to a different drug that happens to contain fentanyl. I don't think that a lot of the people are trying for the first time. I think this is people who already are addicted to drugs.
Okay, now can you respond to that, Dr. Ferruzzi?
Yes. So, of the statistic that you shared earlier about the 107,000 deaths that the CDC monitored, in that same time period, there were 5,200 overdoses with kids, adolescents, being the large majority, and 90% of those were unintentional. So as you and I talked about, the fentanyl being put in other substances.
Yes.
I think that in the teenage years, there's an invincibility feeling that won't happen to me. It's too far removed from the people that I know. But as you and I know, the problem is happening way upstream. And before people have a chance to really understand and believe that they're taking something which they don't realize has the deadly consequences.
Right. And unfortunately, also one thing that we do know is that teenagers a lot of them don't really understand the permanence of making such a big mistake or a big decision like that, because let's just say you do survive, you could have brain damage. There are lots of other issues that you can have. So Jerry, the hope here is that, because your district, Hasty ISD, definitely has taken a different approach. Could you talk about your role and what you're doing to talk to students to make sure that they stay away from fentanyl?
Yeah, many of us we've all struggled, right? Because you see that most of the time you're dealing with abuse of and use of drugs outside of school settings. But the reality is we're educating students. That's what school districts do best. And so in our community, it's not as large as a large city, but yet when we're seeing the influx of it, we thought, what do we do? And really started meeting with law enforcement, pediatricians, our EMS, fire first responders. And we wanted people to hear from those individuals. We wanted our kids to hear from our SROs, from our local pediatricians, the ambulance, and the people that they saw in the schools daily, because we felt like so many of the education materials were really other people talking about it. It was very important for us to have parents who were involved with our district who had been impacted, for those kids to have the connection of what they brought for somebody who was a peer in their own community. It's very important for us that I don't want to say a scared straight, but the reality is it's a life-altering decision. And it's imperative that people have the facts. And what we found in our outreach efforts really also included parents who said, I didn't know, I wasn't aware, I don't watch the news. But from a school setting, we have 22,000 students, and 22,000 students, those parents dial into what we send in emails because they're dialed into what's going on in their schools. And so we felt it was an opportunity for us to use that platform to reach out about what was happening in our local community. And I feel like we've made some impact.
Well, I do want to say something about that, Jerry, because I did check out your website, Hasty ISD, and you do have a lot of literature on there and a lot of information, and you do hear from parents in your district who lost children to fentanyl poisonings, and that is powerful stuff, powerful messages, that because your heart goes out to these parents. Nobody wants to be in their situation, but I'm wondering, Alyssa, if what kind of impact that has on you, with what Jerry was just saying, when you have firefighters or EMS workers or even parents who have lost their children, how do you feel about that?
Well, I had the chance to personally speak with a few of the parents who lost children in our district, and when you hear that, it breaks your heart, just thinking about all these kids who don't understand or can't get the help that they need. And so you walk through school and you think about these kids who you would have had no idea that they were using drugs. And you just wonder who else is using. But hearing from, I think, our EMS and our police and our SROs and the parents really helps to get that message across to students that it is extremely dangerous and that it's not okay to use drugs.
Now, we just want to switch gears here for a second, because when we did this piece, we also visited someone who works with people in recovery, which is a little bit different from what we're covering here tonight. But her name is Caitlin Cortez. She's a recovery specialist at a recovery place, which is right here in San Antonio. And she said that the issue of fentanyl and drugs is really two-pronged. Let's listen to what she had to say.
There are people that intentionally buy fentanyl because it's one of the cheapest drugs on the streets right now. It's mass produced and it's made completely in a lab. There's no natural ingredients to be relied upon in the manufacturing of it. And then also there's the people that it happens unintentionally, like the high school kids that, get something from their friend and their friend had no idea fentanyl was in it and they have no idea fentanyl was in it and no one really knows where it came from.
All right, so Dr. Ferrucci, you just heard what Caitlin had to say. Give us your reaction.
Yeah, they don't know, and it's crucial not just to make it when we talk about having a conversation with our kids. It needs to be an ongoing dialogue, not striving for a monologue or lecture, because the needle to thread here is so narrow, and being a kid, yes, that making mistakes is inherent with that.
Sure.
And having our children be aware, we don't expect you to be perfect, but please don't make a mistake with this, because so many things are robbed from you, from your family, from your friends, and it is as easy as walking away and saying no. But that trust in having that conversation and having the young person understand where that message is coming from, again, happens over time. And it's also important to not just be monitoring social media, but as a parent, be providing things that make life exciting and the child understanding of all the things that they have to look forward to.
Right, so they know what, this sounds really morbid, but what they could possibly lose if they take a risk? Is that the intention?
Absolutely, because there is no room for error.
So we do understand this. The response would be, don't even try it, don't experiment. Now the DEA, we know, has a campaign, it's called One Pill Kills. All right, so when it comes to all the different resources that we have here with our children, Jerry, for the people who are just tuning in, to the parents who are watching this, the children who are watching this, let's just say if they don't have someone like you in their school district who is able to speak with them directly about fentanyl, what would you advise parents to do?
So that's such a multifaceted question. I'll say we put all of our materials up so that they could be shared by anyone. I received calls from people across the country regarding our videos, our materials, and bottom line is we want kids, we want people to see and have that engagement. One of the areas that we tend to struggle tremendously is those individuals who are opioid addicted. And as a youth, it's very difficult to find services that are there for someone who is suffering from that opioid addiction, that physiological response and that need. And so, you know, I think we're doing a very effective job deterring people maybe who is the first time user. Where we're struggling and where we're receiving more and more information from outreaches from parents who say, I can't find a program for my juvenile, or my son or daughter won't go to treatment, and treatment facilities are telling them, we can't take them if they're not willing to go, or there's a wait list for, 6 months, a year, 18 months, but my son's ready to go now, and if I wait 18 months, I'm not sure what can happen. And so I think that for us is a very frustrating piece, and that's something that we're really trying to educate the community about, and we meet with anyone we can to try to really get the community to understand we've got to have that support in place, because yes, we can deter and we can communicate and we can educate those first time users, but we also have to deal with the individuals who are long-term users, because as anybody knows, an addiction is very hard to crush, and you have to have professional help typically.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Jerry, because I want to turn to Dr. Ferruzzi on that too, because yes, there are going to be parents or anybody watching tonight who says, okay, but my child does use drugs. What is the help for them? Where do they turn if they feel like they can't get through to their kids?
Well, seeking medical help, whether it be the initial contact with the family physician, oftentimes getting to a licensed chemical dependency counselor may take a couple of steps. There are measures, actually the state consortium has provided funds for real-time consultation between child psychiatrists and primary care, as well as school consultations through TCHAT. And those provide services for people after screening and understanding better the scope of the problem and what steps need to be taken.
But we just heard from Jerry here that the fact is that that some parents do try to get help for their children who are having addiction issues, and it just seems really difficult for them to have something, because maybe there is a wait list for them to go to rehab, or sometimes the specific rehab that might be open might not necessarily be appropriate, because not all substance abuse is the same.
Right, not all substance abuse is the same, and parents need to continue to lobby on their child's behalf. And as I said, it's not just one port of entry when it comes to getting that health, mental health, but it starts by asking, like I said, primary care, pediatricians, family practice, through the freestanding facilities that have 24/7 screening and assessment to determine whether outpatient treatment is appropriate or something more significant type of intervention is necessary.
Alyssa, we want to turn to you now. What would you advise if you had a moment to share a message with your peers? What would it be?
I think my biggest message for my peers is just that, you know, you're growing up and you're a teenager and you may want to experiment with drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, but we're at that point where it's just not safe and there's no room to do that anymore. It's life and death.
Alyssa, thank you. And Dr. Ferruzzi, for the parents who feel they don't even know how to start that conversation with their kids, what could their first step be?
Most importantly, set time aside. Don't make it a rushed conversation. Put away devices, cell phones, TV not playing in the background, no electronics. Start by asking what they know about fentanyl, what they know about drug use. Have they run into a situation that they were presented with? And make them understand that this is not a lecture, this is meant as a family trying to preserve a family. Oftentimes, kids will say what they've heard. They assure, no, I have no interest in that. I don't know anything. Make sure that you allow for the back channel. Well, things change. You may be presented a situation that you don't know how to handle, and that's okay. That happens to us as adults. But there are so significant dangers out there when it comes to this that don't take a chance. It's not worth it.
Yeah, let's not forget that drugs, risky behavior, alcohol, this is not something that is exclusive or necessarily new to this generation. It's always happened. It's just that this drug in particular has scary outcomes.
It's changed the landscape.
Right. And it seems to me also that part of the solution would be to have a more open relationship with your children so that they are able to come to you. So even if they tell you something that could potentially scare you, you at least want them to know that you're providing a safe space for them.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, Jerry, I want you to have the final word tonight.
So I feel it's incredibly important, and everything we've heard tonight, it is 100% having that open line of communication. It's making sure that you educate your community and the people around you. Take the time to talk to your local resources. If you suspect something, if something's just not right with a friend, with a family member, with a neighbor, with a teacher, anyone, recognize the signs and symptoms as a community member. Understand what a potential fentanyl poisoning looks like. When people's behavior starts changing and they're sleeping all the time and all of the things that we see with these types of activities. I mean, we educated our teachers on what a fentanyl poisoning looked like, so that if they saw a kid in class who was putting their head down on the desk, what we needed to do and address. It's because we know kids come to school tired,
yes,
but we literally needed to educate them on what a fentanyl poisoning looked like. And I implore people, when you notice those changes, do exactly what you just heard, which is open the lines of communication, talk, ask, and don't take no for an answer. You have to stay persistent. I've talked to parents who've lost their son and daughter, and they've said, if only I could have one more argument with my child about what I believed was happening, but I was scared at taking their door off and invading their privacy, and I didn't want them angry with me. And you talk to those parents, and they would give anything to have one more fight with their child. And that's a hard thing to hear. And I implore parents, it's not just our youth, it's everybody. We've got to cut it at the quick, and the only way we can do that is to be connected and look out for each other.
Jerry, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Alyssa, also, we value your perspective. Thank you for joining us. And Dr. Ferruzzi, I'm sure that we'll see you back here again so that you could give us some advice. And to all of you who joined us tonight, we hope that you got something from tonight's town hall. The goal here was to have a conversation so that you could protect your kids, but we do want to say this is not the end of the conversation. We have so much more information about fentanyl, how to get free access to Narcan, where you can also get resources if you or someone you know is suffering from addiction. Yeah, we have the link right there, ksat.com/topic/fentanyl. There we have a lot of resources for you to get help. And again, be safe. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you on the Night Beat. Thank you.